back, YouTubers, to our WrestleMania 22 review as part of our WrestleMania review series, trying to hype you guys up for WrestleMania 28 this year. I am Mr. Parkin here, and this guy sitting next to me, he's the one and only, it's NJ!
What's up?
Look up to the gods, NJ, because in this year's WrestleMania, we had Eddie Guerrero being inducted into the Hall of Fame, and what a sad moment that was. Remember when Eddie Guerrero died? What a hard time in wrestling that was.
Because they've lost one of their biggest wrestlers who came into the World Heavyweight Championship scene.
Yep.
Was a great main eventer and did great for the WWE, so it's a big loss for them.
Yep, and he got inducted straight into the Hall of Fame along with Bret Hart, so he got inducted straight into the Hall of Fame, and one of the matches in this WrestleMania was all dedicated to Eddie Guerrero, and that was that whole Rey Mysterio underdog angle, but sad time, especially the first WrestleMania after Eddie Guerrero died. God, we were going to miss that guy, weren't we?
We were indeed.
But the thing is, with this year's WrestleMania, it had the whole big time theme. I'm not sure what that was all about, but we had 11 matches to enjoy. JR and Lawler on Raw commentary and Taz and Cole on SmackDown commentary. You know, so this had a big time feel in the sense that I guess it was called Big Time, WrestleMania 22. Opener, Kane and Big Show walking in as tag champs, walking out as tag champs against Carlito and Chris Masters. That Chris Masters entrance was awesome, wasn't it? Dun, dun. Oh, I love Chris Masters' entrance. That was the only good thing about him, though, really, wasn't it?
It was indeed. But with this match, you had the whole, you know, the Master Lock gimmick thing going, and obviously that was something big for him. But the match itself, with like Big Show and Kane, you find it hard that someone like Chris Masters and Carlito was going to beat them. Yeah. So it's just basically a match that was quite obvious, and a match just to get them on the card and for there to be a championship match. They
probably got the worst match out of the way as the opener, I guess, and the crowd still seemed kind of pumped for it. God, it was kind of funny to me how you had the heels lose, and then you had that little confrontation, and the fans were well on Carlito, weren't they? They were like, yeah, go Carlito, yeah! Unless they just really hated Chris Masters.
I bet they hate Chris Masters because overall, it wasn't the best match. Even if it's got my boy Kane in it, it still wasn't the best match. But he retained his championship, so I'm happy.
Yeah, just a shame. The next episode on Raw, they would lose the titles to Spirit Squad. But there we go. Those young guys coming through. You know, the Dolph Ziggler, the Mike Mondos, the Kennys. They'd be involved in WrestleMania, though. Don't worry about that. Should we move on to the Money in the Bank?
Please do.
Matt Hardy versus Shelton Benjamin, who was the IC champ for the second year in a row for this. Versus Finlay, he was a booker, so he's always going to try and get himself on WrestleMania. Versus Ric Flair versus Bobby Lashley versus Rob Van Dam in that Money in the Bank ladder match. Thoughts on this match then, MJ?
Well, compared to the first one, it weren't as good, I would say. The wrestlers in this, again, in my opinion, weren't as big as the other ones were in the past one. This one looks like it was a bit thrown together, few wrestlers in here. I was like, okay, you're in this, okay, why? But again, it was a ladder match because obviously it being a.
It's always going to be entertaining, isn't it?
It's going to have its spots in. It had the entertainment in, but it's just the choice of wrestlers weren't as strong as last year.
Yeah, I mean, you had Matt Hardy. Really, he was never going to amount to anything other than a mid-carder. Finlay was a booker in WWE, so he was obviously going to book himself in this one. The one person, in my opinion, that kind of stood out in this was Bobby Lashley. And I never really thought they really did enough with Bobby Lashley, considering he had that look that Mr. McMahon likes. It's just a shame his pigment was the wrong colour, or else he probably would have got a bigger push by Vince McMahon.
That's true. It didn't be in this, because obviously throughout the match he was the dominant one who went around and just took everyone out. You had everyone doing their little spots here, there. Ric Flair has a bit involvement. It's injury as well, which the referees crossed them out.
Shelton Benjamin's flip from the, Shelton Benjamin did some awesome spots in this, didn't he?
He did indeed. He was always there at the right time to stop people winning. So
Ric Flair did his bit though as well, didn't he? A guy his age getting superplex from the top of a ladder. Oh God, man, that looked painful. But God bless his little heart for going out there and taking those bumps. But in the end, the fans, essentially who the fans were pumping for most. RVD wins it, and later on he would cash it in clean at One Night Stand and have that good match with Cena that got him the championship. It's just a shame that I really think it came too late for RVD because they were never really going to get fully behind the guy, were they? Especially in 2006.
No, it was a bit late, but at the same time, giving Rob Van Dam to win, the fans wanted it, so it made them have it in the match.
The ECW champs were going like mad in this one, but it was an entertaining match, just not as good as the first one in the Bank, but still a good match, I thought.
Pretty good,
yeah. Chris Benoit versus JBL. United States Championship gets on the card this time. Chris Benoit won the title at No Way Out in a last chance match against Booker T, which we've actually got on DVD. What do you think of this match?
The first thing I noticed about this is last year we had JBL in a higher title scene picture, and now he's dropped to the United States, and I'm like, okay. But at the same time, he was in a match against Chris Benoit, so he's going to give Chris Benoit the push that he needed and the wins and that. But it's a shame that this match led towards JBL picking up the win.
Yeah.
But it was very, you know, it could have gone either way. They both looked quite strong, and overall it wasn't the best match, but it was another title match on the card.
It was an okay match. You had Chris Benoit in there. There was a lot of stiff shots going on there, as you'd expect from those two. Like you said, JBL got the kind of cheaty holding onto the rope finish. Left a bit of a sour taste in my mouth, but at the same time, you know, it was okay for what it was. I kind of expected a little bit more from Benoit and JBL, to be honest, though, considering they're both pretty decent workers in their own sense.
Yeah, I guess there's just not a lot to say about this match, not a lot.
But we have a lot to say about the next match, though. Edge versus Mick Foley in a Hardcore Rules match. We have a very, very special touch here with them bringing Joey Styles out on commentary for the Hardcore match, the legendary ECW. Oh my God! Commentator. That was a nice little touch for that match, wasn't it?
With the spots that happened in this match, they had the right person on commentary because obviously he brings out when something big happens, he brings out the emphasis on it makes it really stand out. But this match, again, with lead by Edge's side, it was going to be pretty much a handicap match now and again. But overall, it was just a really strong match between both wrestlers, which made this match a good hardcore match and a great match for WrestleMania.
I mean, the story leading into this, you had Foley being the special guest referee when you know, Edge cashed in his Money in the Bank and lost it to Cena a couple of weeks later. He was blaming Mick Foley. So all this really, you know, built up quite quickly. And I think this was the time of the year, the time when Edge wasn't quite ready, in my opinion. He kind of reminded me a little bit of Dolph Ziggler. Just the fact that he could obviously work, but he wasn't quite there yet, and that whole feud with Foley really helped put him over as a real legitimate player. And this is why I think this match really served its purpose. This match kind of really helped Edge turn into a star, in my opinion, because, you know, Mick Foley never got his WrestleMania moment. There was a lot of weapon usage in this. We had barbed wire, thumbtacks, you know, spear through the flaming table, a spot that will always be remembered at WrestleMania. And, you know, so again, Foley putting over another guy in Edge.
And that's the thing, because Mick Foley's done a lot in his career, so for him to be putting a match at a later WrestleMania than his time, he did the right thing by putting Edge over. But the only thing I'm going to say about this is if you've got the DVD, one of the features is overrated wrestlers.
And Mick Foley's there.
Yeah, so, and then for him to be put in this match, we can say all the good things about it, but for some reason critics think it was bad, but whatever there.
In my opinion, this was the best match on the card. It got, 15 minutes? It was a really good hardcore match and really did its job of cementing Edge as a player for the future of the business.
Yeah, I think this match, obviously, it's going to be remembered for the spot and remembered for something that helped Edge's career be boosted up to a higher place.
Especially after him winning Money in the Bank and losing it to Cena a while back. And that really did help legitimize him, even though they'll continue to feud. But all the spots in this, the barbed wire, the thumbtacks, spear through the flame table will be remembered for a long time. So
it will indeed.
A good match on the card. We had that standing ovation for Foley at the end as well. So he kind of deserved that. He took a lot of bumps.
And again, it's in the right place on the card. Obviously, you're hyping up, getting up towards the main matches now. And for this match to be bang there where it was just a great match overall.
Just a shame they followed it with Booker T and Sharma versus Boogeyman. This is just weird. I mean, you had Booker T and Sharma with all the freaks in the back. I remember Schnitzky licking Mae Young's foot. Ugh, that was disgusting, wasn't it? But basically, this match was just there to try out Boogeyman. There wasn't really much else to it. You know, he was a very unique character that ate worms, and you're trying to get that on the card. In face of Booker T, it was like 4 minutes long, and it's basically like a glorified squash to get Boogeyman looking good on the card, really. It wasn't really anything good.
Boogeyman obviously weren't a wrestler that was going to go really far, unlike Booker T. So I'm thinking maybe being a WrestleMania match, after the build-up to this match, maybe Booker T should have got the win over someone like that and gone somewhere. But again, they gave Boogeyman the win, who soon after this, nothing much happened with him.
It's funny they give Boogeyman the win here, but later on in the year, Booker T would win King of the Ring, become King Booker, and then win the World Heavyweight Championship later on in the year. It's a strange little path they had Booker T on, wasn't it? Involved in an interpromotional battle royal at the last WrestleMania, I think. I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on to a good match. Trish Stratus walked in as a champion and faced Mickie James for the Women's Championship. And do you remember the story behind this? The fact, you know, you had Mickie James being the psychotic fan of Trish Stratus. You had like lesbian stuff in there. And oh god, this storyline was awesome. I remember this storyline. This was a great women's feud, wasn't it? Back when women's wrestling kind of mattered a little bit.
Well, we've said about the past WrestleManias weren't the best Divas matches, but this one, it had great build. It had two Divas that people were starting to like, even though she was a bit psychotic. Mickie James was still a diva that people seem to like and wondering what's going to happen next with her. So for her to get this match at WrestleMania and win, again, it did big thing for Mickie James, and she beat Trish Stratus of all divas.
Yeah.
Very good.
You had the veteran in Trish Stratus, probably one of the best women's wrestlers ever, putting over Mickie James. It was kind of like the new guard coming in. The match went about over 10 minutes. It was funny in this match how the crowd really did turn on Trish, and they started chanting for Mickie, even though she was the fucking heel. Got that a couple of times during this night, didn't we?
I think it did, but I think with this, Mickie James, of course, only progressed after WrestleMania. So for her to start to get the crowd on her side and that, I think only helped her career follow on from after this.
And she played to the crowd really well in this match, didn't she? Remember that little spot when they had her touching Trish's crotch, and then they had her finish off with the chip kick? In the DVD, they edit this bit out, but you get her touching the crotch, and you get her licking her fingers. That was some good storytelling right there. You know you're a dedicated diva when you're willing to do that and take that over Trish and Mickie.
The thing about that is, of course, again, it weren't great for Mickie James afterwards. She got a lot of complaints about it from Vince McMahon and that. But at the same time, when it was actually being seen, it added more to Mickie James' character. So it was a good thing for her.
Yeah, and, you know, it was a good women's match.
Yes.
Yeah, probably one of the best women's matches we've seen since doing this WrestleMania series. Probably the best women's match we will see in the continuing series.
We've had big divas in the past, but this one was just done correctly.
Mark Henry versus Undertaker in a casket match. Do you want to give your thoughts on this one before I expand on it?
All I'm going to say is that, again, we need to give Undertaker certain opponents. So for him to go up against an opponent like Mark Henry, who back here, again, weren't as big as he is now, but it was still a challenge for Undertaker. The casket match, again, it was different to what we've been getting, just a normal single match or whatever. So for him to get a casket match against Mark Henry, the casket was big enough anyway. I just say that it wasn't the best match for Undertaker, but it was another win over a big dominant guy.
You pretty much echoed what I was going to say there. Undertaker was 13. You had Mark Henry costing Taker the title and destroying Taker, being not afraid of Undertaker. The match was, I don't know, I didn't think it was terrible. I thought it was okay. You had that nice spot where Undertaker dived over the ropes and over the casket onto Mark Henry. I thought that was pretty awesome. And Undertaker predictably wins, as we kind of knew he would against Mark Henry. Mark Henry was never going to be a threat to the streak, so it was kind of predictable. But 9.5-minute casket match. It was. I didn't think it was too bad. It wasn't one of Undertaker's best WrestleMania wins.
Oh no,
no, definitely not. Should we move on to the next match?
Yes.
This next match was a good match. We enjoyed this match. Vince McMahon versus Shawn Michaels in a no-holds-barred match, and you can pretty much guarantee with Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels that you're going to get a good match out of these two. This story was based off the Montreal Screwjob and McMahon trying to make Michaels' life a living hell, and I mean, he roided himself up for this match, didn't he, Mr. McMahon? He was going to go out in style.
That's the thing, because with a match like the Divas and the other matches, this match had great build to it and got us really wanting this match. Because of course it was Shawn Michaels wanted to take care of Vince McMahon wanted to take care of Shawn Michaels, so it was back and forward action to make this match. And no bad, it really added a lot to this match between the two wrestlers.
I mean, this told a great story, didn't it? I mean, that's what Mr. McMahon, he doesn't give you technical wrestling, but like we've seen on the last ones, Shane at WrestleMania 17, Hogan at 20, Hogan at 19, I should say. He tells a good story with his facials and everything like that. But, you had all the interference with Spirit Squad and Shane interfering, the handcuffs, Shane getting put onto Mr. McMahon's ass, Shane getting handcuffed to the ropes. And it was really nice how this match, it told a really good story. But it was really nice in this match how Michaels built up to the finish. You had him like saying, no, I want to do a bit more. And then get the crowd going. Now I want to do a bit more. And the way they led to that elbow drop through the table with the trash can on Vince McMahon was perfect, which is why a guy like Shawn Michaels can really get a crowd going, and he doesn't need to do 10,000 high spots like you'd see in ROH.
That's the thing, because with this match, again, Shawn Michaels said it first, it wouldn't be a 5-star match, it just could be a big battle between the two, and that's what it had. All the spots you got in this, the weapon usage, the ladder, the table, the dustbins, it added a lot to this match, and obviously it all led up to Shawn Michaels getting a big win over Vince McMahon.
Yeah, and it's it's a typical WrestleMania match where you want to see Vince McMahon get his ass kicked, and he does. And it was an entertaining one. It was 5-star in another way. Do you know what I mean? Not wrestling way, but it was 5-star in another way. It was still a good match, I thought. And this whole thing led on to that. Remember that McMahon's versus Michael and God thing at Backlash. And also, I see what you're doing there. And you had the reformation of DX after this, trying to make McMahon's a living hell. That was good, wasn't it?
Very good. That brought entertainment. But this match, again, it did the right thing. It gave Shawn Michaels the win, and obviously the continuance of the feud afterwards.
Now, this next match we got on the card, the World Heavyweight Championship match, Kurt Angle versus Randy Orton versus Rey Mysterio. You had Rey win the Rumble. doing it for Eddie. He then lost his chance at Randy Orton on No Way Out, and then Teddy Long gave his chance back. And this match was all, you kind of knew what was going to happen here. Eddie was in the Hall of Fame. And Rey Mysterio was trying to win this World Heavyweight Championship for Eddie Guerrero. It was, emotional kind of WrestleMania moment there, isn't it?
The build-up was a bit, they threw different ideas to make it happen. So maybe they could have just done a single match between
Angle and Mysterio would have been good.
So like that, yeah. But again, throwing Orton in, Orton was a growing star as we saw. So him being involved at WrestleMania in a world title picture was good, but just a bit messed up building up to it. But all I can say is the match was good. Angle was pretty much the strongest in the match.
He was awesome in this match.
He just could have won at any point
Suplexed everyone.
That's true. And you had Rey Mysterio fighting back, showing that he's not going to be put down by two big wrestlers. So overall, it was a pretty good match for all three of them.
I mean, only got 9 minutes, and I really felt it should have gone at least double that time. But for a 9-minute match, you could tell they were kind of rushing with all the spots they did. They didn't really get too much of a chance to build a story up. But it was still, for what they did in the Triple Threat match, it was still a good match. Like you said, Angle was really good in this match. He really made that match, in my opinion. And it's, I don't know, is it just me here, but when we watched the TV, did it seem like some fans were booing Rey? Because they were really behind fucking Angle, weren't they? They weren't really behind Rey that much, in my opinion.
Even though this match was about Rey and Eddie Guerrero, it was a bit of a shame to hear that the people weren't behind Rey, because it was for Rey and Eddie Guerrero. Yeah. And they were more behind Angle, and that it just kind of took away a bit of Rey Mysterio's win at the end. But at the same time, the win did help Rey Mysterio afterwards, but the fans just weren't doing the right direction.
Like I said, it was a good main event, and it did its job of getting Rey Mysterio over and having the whole Eddie Guerrero thing, but it just didn't get enough time. It really, if it got more time, it could have been a really good match rather than just a good match. Do you know what I mean? It could have really delivered it in so many more ways if they just got more time. 9 minutes isn't enough for a World Heavyweight Championship match, especially when you're trying to put over this whole thing with Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero.
That's true. In the match, you had the whole Chavo Guerrero and Vicky Guerrero applauding him, and Rey Mysterio being all happy in that. So again, it was a good moment to finish with, and it gave Rey Mysterio a win at WrestleMania. So I'm gonna say it was a good match and did the justice it needed for Rey Mysterio.
It was definitely a good match for what it was, and it provided us with a genuine WrestleMania moment. Eddie Guerrero going into the Hall of Fame and Rey sort of doing it for Eddie, that kind of thing. That was a good moment as well. Shame they followed it with Candice Michelle versus Tori Wilson in a Playboy pillow fight. Do you really want to talk about this?
A spot just to get the fans excited and happy, and that it weren't nothing to be a wowed about for a WrestleMania.
Could have given that time to the World Heavyweight Championship match, but oh well, we'll move on to the main event. John Cena versus Triple H. We got the guy you hate most versus the guy who you idolize in the WWE Championship match. The whole story behind this was Triple H thought Cena was a bit of a joke. He was going to win this match easily. He was relaxed, and boy, was he going to eat his words later in the night, wasn't he?
He was. I look at this match, and I'm thinking, obviously, Cena's building his way up to the top as he is.
First major defence, wasn't it, at WrestleMania against Triple H?
Yes, we need his stepping stones, and for Triple H of all wrestlers to be the one to go against John Cena and give him his win at WrestleMania. As much as I don't like it, I see that it did great for John Cena's push to the top.
Yeah, and it would increase John Cena's stock a lot more, wouldn't it? John Cena was obviously a star that WWE wanted to get behind, and what better way than to have one of the best in the business at the time, Triple H, putting him over. It's just very interesting. The entrances took a lot of time, didn't they? You had Triple H's King of Kings entrance, which was very entertaining. And then you had Cena's Mafia entrance, with CM Punk there. That was quite funny, seeing CM Punk. Nice seeing where he is now.
The entrances, again, for WrestleMania, you had the Rey Mysterio one, you had this one, JBL's one. So they had a lot of building up to the entrances, which made them, especially for this match, being the main event, big draw, for them to have a special entrance, it really added to this match.
I think the most interesting thing about this main event was the fact that the fans really were behind Triple H. They really weren't behind Cena at all. They were booing the fuck out of Cena, and they were really cheering Triple H, which is very interesting because Triple H was supposed to be this, heel that was overconfident, thinking he was going to go in there and win. And goddamn, that really added something to the match, didn't it? The match was pretty decent. It really did add to the match a lot.
I guess WWE wanted the fans to get behind Cena because he was their next top dog.
Didn't work.
But again, them against Triple H, Triple H's been there a long time, and John Cena's just coming in. It's a bit of a shame that with Triple H being the confident geezer he is, it didn't work out for the WWE for the main event.
No, I mean, the match was, what did you think of the match? Just want your thoughts.
Pretty strong match. You had Triple H, of course, taking care of business, using his sledgehammer, doing the whole gimmick thing. He has the cheating to win thing. John Cena not backing down. You could slowly see the superhero gimmick building up.
Yeah, and the booze.
And the booze. But overall, it was a good match for both of them.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good main event. I think the crowd did help it a lot as well. You had Cena winning with the STFU. The fans seemed pretty stunned at that, didn't they? They really thought Triple H was going to go the distance. And John Cena gets that win over Triple H, which he needed to kind of really solidify himself as one of WWE's top guys, although I know you didn't like it. And interesting fact, for all you guys out there that say Triple H always wins at WrestleMania, this is the 3rd time in a row he did a job clean. He did the job clean to Benoit, he did the job clean to Batista, and now he's done the job clean for John Cena. It was a good, I thought it was a good moment. The crowd did help. They were really pumped for this match, weren't they?
Again, that's exactly what WWE want with their main event. They want it to be the draw people look forward to. And for it to have Cena in, yes, they didn't cheer for him, but again, it did its job at the end.
Your thoughts on this pay-per-view overall then?
At first, I was like, okay, I'm not really getting into this. The matches just weren't that exciting to me. The Money in the Bank, again,
wasn't as good as the first one.
It's a shame they didn't look like a competition to last year's. They just had this match there. Just didn't give me the feeling that I was hoping for. The hardcore match, again, one of the matches of the night, because obviously how it was done. Then you had the Divas match, which was better than we've seen in the past. Vince McMahon and Shawn Michaels, again, great match overall. And the 2 main events, again, they did their job, and the right guys won for their futures after WrestleMania. So I'm satisfied with them.
The right guys did win the main events, and they kind of delivered in different ways, even if I feel the World Heavyweight Championship didn't get enough time. Edge and Mick Foley was a fantastic hardcore match. The Money in the Bank was entertaining as usual. The women's match was probably the best women's match we've seen at WrestleMania. Add that into Vincent McMahon and Shawn Michaels. It gives you a pretty decent WrestleMania, in my opinion. I don't think it was a great it wasn't like 17, 19 or 14 standards, but it was still a decent to good WrestleMania. There was a lot of good matches in there. Just a shame there was a couple of matches that kind of felt like filler. But I'll give this one a B, maybe B-. I thought it was pretty decent.
I'm pretty much B- because the 2 main events gave us, again, like WrestleMania should, stars that are going to progress onto other things afterwards. So B- from me.
And WrestleMania moments as well.
Loads.
So many spots with Vincent McMahon in the Shawn Michaels match. You had the whole spot on the ladder. You in the Money in the Bank. So many spots in there. So many spots in that Edge match with the flaming table. You have just loads of moments in there which you could kind of remember. Although there was a couple of moments in there that you didn't want to remember. But there we go. It's a solid WrestleMania in my opinion. I'll give it a B. I thought it was pretty decent. Your B-.
Yeah, B-.
That's pretty much a fair grade in my opinion. It wasn't a great WrestleMania, but it wasn't a crap WrestleMania. So
no,
B- is a fair grade for us. And we thank you very much, guys, for watching this WrestleMania review. Thank you very much for taking part in our opinions, and get your thoughts on this WrestleMania down in that comment section below as we progress in the next video to WrestleMania 23.
And all I'm going to say, people, is thank you for tuning in to another WrestleMania review. It's fun doing this. We've watched hours and hours of WrestleMania, which is a big bonus for us, a great pay-per-view as it is. Hopefully you've enjoyed this WrestleMania. Give your thoughts in the comment section below. And all I can say, people, for Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, till next time, people, goodbye.